Hello, this is Andreas from Nordic Tarot, and I've got 3 readings for you for the last 2 weeks of September. Please remember that even the 2 more specific readings, the love and the work reading, they are still general, so if they do not resonate, I'm sorry, but hopefully at least one of the 3 will. And you'll find more information about how to contact me and on the decks I'm using in the description. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy your readings. Hey Sagittarius, Sun and Rising. Holy crap, do I have some readings for you. They seem quite heavy. I'm gonna talk through this together. So the oracle card I pulled for you is number 10, Unfinished Symphony. The essential meanings are unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, the need to make amends. And the oracle's message for the general reading is, this is a time to tie up loose ends as you near the completion of a cycle or a project and mastery of a lesson or skill. Before you can move forward, it's important you come to terms with where you are now. Practice radical acceptance. Take inventory so that emotional and psychological closure can occur, and the answers you seek will be found. You can't move forward if you're leaving things unfinished. Reflect on what has passed so that the symphony can finally end on a high note. And the cards you have, the Unfinished Symphony card is talking about, take inventory so that emotional and psychological closure can occur, and the answers you seek will be found. The Page of Swords is information gathering. Yes, it can be spying and it can be brutal, honest truths as well. But it is someone, finding out information and learning new things and, accumulating all these answers. But if you are seeking these answers, if it's the answer aspect or the information aspect of the Page of Swords that the cards are showing us, then I feel like there is something blocking that, and perhaps that is the Emperor. And the Emperor he's a very powerful person. He knows what he's doing. It's my way or the highway. He's very good at what he does, and he knows what he's doing, and he can make it happen. He doesn't need anyone's help, and I'll just do it all alone. Because I'm the Emperor and I can do it. Now, the flip side to the Emperor is that he can be very stubborn. And I feel like, let's say that you have this aspect of the Emperor, with them. Yes, you might be incredibly capable, but if it's something that you're not wanting to look at or not something you don't want to deal with, then there is this potential of the Tower energy also happening during this period. And yeah, the Tower does not necessarily have to be a bad change. The Tower is unexpected change. Now, the change may be for the better. If it's for better or for worse, I don't know. But the Tower, I'm just saying, in its essence, it's not a bad card. It's just something that happens unexpectedly. And it's kind of imagine that the universe is trying to teach us a lesson. Let's say the universe is trying to teach us a lesson, right? And if we just don't want to look at the lesson, if we don't want to learn a lesson, we will just keep coming back to it. Because we do get repeat opportunities to break cycles and patterns and to learn lessons. And it's not, sometimes it can kind of sound like the universe is kind of scolding us, I'll teach you a lesson. But I think it's just all for our greater good. It's all for our benefit in the end. And if the Tower is showing up, then the Emperor also makes sense, especially with the Unfinished Symphony card, because it is this thing about there's something that needs to be finished, a lesson that hasn't been learned, there's some closure. But if someone's, and I'm not putting this all on you, Sagittarius, I'm not just saying, oh, you're just stubborn, stop being stubborn. You might have very legitimate reasons for being stubborn, and I understand if it's very difficult to not, maybe it's something where someone has made you quite defensive. The Page of Swords, like I said, can be someone expressing brutal honesty, and that can put someone's back up. That can put you on the back foot and be like, oh, I don't like this, I'm pulling back, I don't want to deal with this thing. But sometimes things are just kind of meant to be dealt with, I suppose. Especially if it is a lesson from the universe, then the universe is just trying to teach us something, and it might be really difficult to look at. Or maybe sometimes it's just things we do unconsciously. I try to analyze myself all the time, and sometimes I do something for what I think is a legitimate reason, but then I think about it and I realize, oh, I'm doing that because of this reason, because I don't want to get hurt in A, B, or C way. But I think that it is important to look at these things, and I understand that it's quite difficult sometimes. Like, it can be incredibly difficult. And I feel like the tower energy is shown more as a warning. Like, listen, we don't really want to do this, but the tower is there in the future. Maybe this is something you should look at. Because now that you have the knowledge of the tower being there, for example, then you have the opportunity to lessen or maybe even completely negate the energy of the tower. Maybe that timeline or that version just stops existing because you dealt with the thing, you learned the lesson, you broke the mold, whatever it is you need to, or whatever it is you might have to do. But I want to reiterate, I understand if it's really difficult because it feels really heavy to me. But then, yes, the Emperor might be stubborn, but he's also very forceful. He can get things done and he's good at what he does. If he chooses to do something, he's going to finish it and he's going to do it well. Like, you have all that potential there. And for the love reading, your relationship message is, moving on is difficult when love lingers. Things are left unsaid and you haven't had the opportunity for closure in your relationship and in your heart. You can feel bound up in relationships when closure is denied you. It's important to achieve this for yourself. Write that letter, make that call, or have that conversation over a cup of coffee. For peace of mind, accept matters as they are, make amends if need be, and declare your feelings even if only to yourself. Be clear about what was left unresolved, and close the door on the past so you can set yourself free. Only then can new love blossom. Man, Sagittarius, you have the Eight of Swords. This is like being stuck in your own head. Like, look at this woman. She's in a circle of swords, and swords representing her thoughts. And she's also blindfolded. She doesn't know how to maneuver. She doesn't know how to move because she might get cut. And man, it just feels super heavy. Like, I understand if you're having a hard time with this, because sometimes we just keep playing scenarios over and over in our head. Like, what would have happened if we did this or if we did that? But your two other cards also like hold great potential for you. Like, the Page of Pentacles talks of someone who's offering someone else a stable beginning. Like, it's a stable offer of something, like perhaps a relationship. It's a stable relationship. But like, I almost feel like to reach that, I feel like you have to deal with the Eight of Swords first. And to do these things, you have the strength, like inner strength, courage, being bold. But I feel like the focus is very much on the inner strength. That you have this inner strength to do these things. Because I very much understand like the Eight of Swords with the unfinished symphony stuff. Like, if you are holding on to something or if something you didn't get closure, sometimes you can't communicate with a person because that person isn't there anymore, and it's difficult to like talk it out. But it's equally important to accept things within yourself and just you, like, okay, I'm okay with this and this has happened. But you know, sometimes if we've lost someone, if they aren't there anymore, then kind of holding on to them, even though it's super painful to do that, that's like one way of not losing them. That it is this thing of, well, as long as I hold them in my heart or in my thoughts, however painful that is, then at least I'll have that, right? But I feel like it's a very important time for you, Sagittarius, to look at what you need, like to nurture yourself and what's good for you. Is this good for you? I don't feel like it is good for you. But you have the potential of like the Page of Pentacles, and you have the inner strength of the Strength card. And I understand how difficult it can be if it is about moving on from someone or if a relationship ended. But there is this like, there are other beginnings, and you know, you have that new potential of a new beginning with the Page of Pentacles there. So all is not lost. And I understand that might be a pittance of reassurance, but you know, it's still true. And the prosperity message for your work reading is, make sure you complete projects now before starting new ones. Perhaps you have created something special that will increase your sense of abundance and bring you opportunities for wealth. However, if you don't see it through, it won't add up to anything but more clutter. Now is the time to put your nose to the grindstone and complete the tasks that have accumulated. Pay your bills, sign the documents, do your filing, hand in an assignment, complete a work of art. Tie up loose ends so you can move forward with surety, knowing you're on the prosperous path and feeling refreshed and excited about the future. Like I mentioned earlier with the unfinished symphony and like the universe teaching us lessons and putting us in situations where we have the potential of learning something, or where we have the potential of getting something out of it, then that's kind of doubled up with the wheel, because the wheel is like fate. It's the wheel of fortune. It's the wheel keeps turning and the seasons keep changing. And yes, it's a card that speaks of change and things keep moving forward, but it's also about fate, and maybe you are in a fateful situation and it's something you're supposed to take something away from this. Like maybe there's some lesson to be learned here. And I know I'm focusing very much on the just learning a lesson kind of thing. And again, I want to reiterate that it's not like the universe is wagging its finger and saying, I'm going to teach you a lesson, young Sagittarius. I feel like it's more like for your own benefit. And yes, it can be about making amends and all these other aspects. I just really connected to the learning a lesson portion of it. So if the Wheel of Fortune is here, like talking about like a fated situation, then I feel like you have two incredibly powerful cards to back that up, or to get you through it, or make you accomplish things with the Magician and the Star. Like, your work reading is just 3 major arcanas, which are, big energies. And the Magician, he's a master manifester, and he can make things happen for himself. He has all the tools to do and achieve what he wants. And then the Star is about hopefulness and wishing and healing, and it's just like trusting. Like, the hopefulness can be the trust in the universe, for example. Like, I'm going to trust the universe that good things will come to me, and, a lot of that stuff you have to work for yourself, but it's like the karma thing, right? But I feel like, yes, if let's say you have an unfinished project, like you haven't paid your bills, or you have a half-finished piece of art, or something that you've been side-eyeing for a while because, I should finish that, I know, but I haven't, then with the Magician being there, you do have that, like, I feel like the Magician and the Star is like pushing you from behind, like supporting you and being there with you, like, you can do this. And, this healing and hopefulness and wish fulfillment and wishing, like, with the Star as well. I just feel like you have so much power in you right now when it comes to, especially your work situation. But it's just about dealing with those things first. And then, for all I know, you can ride that wave out of this month. It just seems super powerful to me, Sagittarius. And I think you can make something, like, really brilliant out of it. Thank you so much for watching my video. And like I said in the beginning of the video, if you need more information about the decks I use or how to contact me, you'll find it in the description below. And I do hope that at least one of these readings resonated with you and you got some kind of message from it. And I hope everything finds you well until next time.